All right, everyone. Welcome to this weekly Sidereal astrology forecast. So this is for May 8th through the 14th of 2017. So there is a lot going on this week. Let me show you the transit graph first so you can see what I'm talking about. A lot of aspects. This is definitely more than usual. So we'll go ahead and break this down one by one, but fundamentally about this week, it is a full moon week. All right, we're going to have a full moon in Libra on Wednesday. And so this is a week of cultivation. If there's been anything over the past 6 months that maybe is new started in your life, could be a cultivating time. Even over the past couple weeks, if there's anything new that started, could be cultivating as well. But fundamentally for everyone, you know, this is a week of doing this sort of status check, right? Seeing this, what is being harvested at this time, what is coming to the forefront, and then through that awareness around Wednesday, then sort of shifting and taking the energy into a new direction based on whatever the insights are that come to us at this time. So usually the energies are higher during a full moon week like this. Usually there are some things on some level that we are cultivating and harvesting in our life, and makes it an excellent time for that status check. So the full moon in Libra means that this is going to be collectively for everyone about relationships, about relating with others, having harmony in our life. And I think all in all, you know, too, with Libra, it's about justice. You know, it's about doing the right thing. And, you know, what is the right thing in your personal life or in a particular, you know, experience you could be having this week? And I think implementing that, doing that, you know, taking those actions towards that just, moral, and right approach to matters. Okay, so yeah, that's going to be on Wednesday, the high point of this lunar cycle in Libra. Mind you, this is for sidereal astrology, so if you're wondering why the full moon is not in Scorpio, the signs are different, so make sure you do check the link down below if you are new to this channel. And what we're going to do first is break this down collectively for everyone, and then we'll look at this individually for all of the signs. There are timestamps down in the comment section. After we go through this collectively, you can click your sign. It'll take you to your specific portion of the video. All right, so looking at this first, coming into Tuesdays when things really start to get activated astrologically. We do have the sun trining up to Pluto, which is part of this full moon. And so on Tuesday in particular, maybe expressing ourselves quite deeply, maybe wanting to focus on things very meaningfully, you know, and to the truth of the matter. Could make it very good for research, uncovering hidden things. Psychology can be great. You know, esoteric stuff, I suppose. Anything that requires diving deeper, both with ourselves and with our environment. And again, with this full moon being in Libra, which emphasizes relating, maybe expressing ourselves in very deep ways, meaningful ways, wanting openness, intimacy, you know, connecting on that level can certainly be supportive. These 2 days approaching this full moon, Tuesday and Wednesday, Mercury is going to be conjoining Uranus for the last time. We had Mercury pass over Uranus about a month and a half ago, I believe, went retrograde, passed over it about a couple weeks ago, and now it's passing over it again for the last time. So usually the last contact is like a final integration, a final culmination. In this case, maybe about where you've created some change or have wanted to create some change in your life, particularly for freedom. You know, Uranus is all about making the changes so that our life is more in alignment with who we are, what we're truly about, and in many ways too, what we want. What excites us? What is our excitement, right? But we're uncovering this. Uranus is our mind, so we're learning about this as well. So with the full moon, if there is any final culminations or shifts that you feel like you may want to change, maybe on a minor note with your routine or something like that, on a daily level, or whatever it is you've been thinking about or working on, if it's like work related or a project or something like that. But what can you change fundamentally, you know, with your perspective on things, so that you can really let go and detach. This is all in Pisces, so it's about letting go of all the outcomes, all the mental projections, everything we don't have control over, so we can access the true freedom of who we are. And yeah, making the changes to have our life reflect that change, that excitement of who we are. Can also make it very good for innovative, progressive ideas, thinking outside the box, if it is again more practical in nature for you there. All right, so Wednesday is the full moon. It is a supportive full moon, easy aspects. We do have a trine up to Chiron with it. It could be some healing. Trine up to Neptune, it could be easy going. And sextile up to Pluto, again, open, deep, vulnerable. Really connecting to the essence of life, expressing ourselves in such a way, and just not being afraid of the truth, whatever that might mean for you personally. So the full moon, again, we'll see which house this is for you personally, but collectively for everyone, will be about balancing our personal needs, which has been the sun in Aries. This time of focusing on what's important for us, but with Libra, relating, balancing it with what others' needs are, and cooperating, finding that harmony, that mutuality, which is Libra. So certainly some insights about that collectively, and maybe about relationships in general. All right, so that's the high point of the week, energetically speaking. And then as we get into Thursday, we have quite a few things going on here, Thursday and Friday. First with Mercury. Mercury's now trining Saturn again. He also did this during the retrograde. So this I think is going to take a bit more of a backdrop, but I do want to mention that we could be quite grounded in our thinking here this middle part of the week. It does make it really good for practical things. Again, if it involves communication, if it involves writing or correspondence or your work, something like that, very practical, very realistic, can help ground out this energy. Now, what I think is going to play the dominant role here, this middle part, is this Mars squaring up to Neptune, trining up to Jupiter. Okay, first looking at this square up to Neptune, which will, I think, be the emphasis here on Thursday, is that there could be uncertainty. There could be doubt. There could be confusion. Now, mind you, there's a lot of supportive energy at the moment. All these blue aspects, and as I said, the full moon's very supportive. But on some level, and some signs will be more affected by this than others, and again, we'll cover that. But there is on some level this uncertainty. And I think a lot of it is about where we're putting our energy and where we're headed. Mars is about, again, those personal needs, where we're going, where we're putting our energy, what we want, who we are, even. There could be some doubt about this, some uncertainty about it. So the best way to work with this is really to, as best as you can, challenge yourself to what I call dissolve the ego. Challenge yourself to let the ego take the back seat, let go of anything that you do feel like you really want, and there is that, really strong desire there, and surrender it. Let it go. And what I mean by that is not the desire itself. It's more specifically the projection, the outcome, whatever it is that's actually causing the confusion. Because the truth of the matter is that what Neptune helps us do is connect to the now moment, to presence. That maybe, where there's a strong need, and this ego could be very strong as it is, for all of us as human beings, maybe there's something we're not seeing. Maybe there's a greater plan or a greater cause or a greater sort of unfoldment of events that we don't exactly know how things are unfolding, in terms of the future and the outcome of things. So anything you can do to surrender that, to dissolve everything that, might involve what might be creating the confusion, like where things are going or, what we don't have control over, the more you can surrender that, let go. I think this is a very constructive way of working with this. I think collectively, all of us are going through this dissolving of the ego this week, and that's going to make us much more accepting as a result. It may not be easy because it's a square, but as a result, we will all be on some level much more accepting, much more understanding. This is accepting about how things are in our life, who we are, where we're going, and even relationships. Understanding in terms of, not knowing where it is, but understanding in terms of we're more accepting about where we're at. We're more understanding of where we're at, and even about ourselves and our relationships as well. And it's a beautiful thing. And as a result, much more peaceful, tranquil, and willing to go with the flow. Now, with all of that being said, there is a lot of support with even just that aspect. Mars is trining up to Jupiter at that same time, and this could play a strong role on Thursday, but I think even more so on Friday in terms of this, yeah, there's this confidence, there's this optimism, there's this inspiration about all of this. That maybe there's those challenges of letting go, but at the same time, we have this very good hopefulness and inspiration and optimism and confidence and directness and energy to cultivate whatever it is that we might be focused on at this time, or again, wanting to with that Mars, those, whatever it is that those personal needs are, emphasizing. So, yeah, very supportive here. Very good for, tapping into your adventurous side, inspiring yourself. If you do feel that, utilize it. This is very supportive. Utilize the confidence, utilize the energy if you feel it, utilize the optimism, the inspiration. It's certainly there. It's very much supporting this. Okay, and that could also create some opportunities, which again, we'll see for you personally, but collectively, I think the opportunity is to, expand, open our minds, see future possibilities in such a way that we're not projecting, but at the same time, we're open to them. We're more open to life's experiences. Okay, so that's the major things. But at that same time here about Saturday, actually, the sun is going to be shifting into Taurus. So we'll be going into more of the earthy, grounded energy. I still think, there will be a much more of an active perspective because, we've had so much energy in Pisces. The sun is certainly way out of Pisces at this time. But if you felt like lately, these past few weeks, things have been more direct in your life, you've been expressing yourself more directly, that'll likely still be going on this week. But up until about Saturday, probably focused a bit more in terms of groundedness, probably wanting to take things a bit slow and steadily, focusing on the material realm of enjoying the things we have in our life, good meal, going out into nature, grounding ourselves in our senses, and just all in all feeling a bit more resourceful, actually, wanting to take things one step at a time, which already has been the case because Mars has been in Taurus, but I think that'll really be emphasizing that once the sun shifts there this weekend and more so next week. Okay, on a minor note about this week, Mercury is going to be trining up to the North Node on Sunday. So this has also been part of the whole retrograde of Mercury. There could be some more insight about your specific life path on Sunday. Great day for learning, trying new things about what excites you, what you're passionate about. As you can see here too, Saturn is going to be trining up to Uranus within the 1 degree orb, but this isn't going to go exact until next Friday, May 19th. But maybe the second half of the week, feeling like, yes, there is this slow but steady structure that we're building in our life that is, building things for our excitement, for our freedom, for, again, creating our situation, our environment in such a way that it does reflect what we're truly about. So it's Saturn, grounded, but it's Uranus, it's change, it's freedom. And there's a very good harmony between grounded change, grounded freedom going into next week. All right. So that's the weekly in a nutshell at this point. Let's go ahead and look at them for the individual signs, all these aspects. You can click the timestamp down in the comment section, and that'll take you directly to your signs portion of the video. I do recommend watching this for your sun, moon, and ascendant sign. There is a chart calculator down below if you'd like to find your moon or ascendant. All right, so see you on the individual signs video. All right, Aries, welcome to your segment of the horoscope here, the weekly horoscope. So let's first talk about the self, right? So your ruler Mars, who is in your second house, I think a lot of you are motivated towards the financial side of things right now. In fact, yeah, anything that you can be cultivating this week that is about developing your material security, investments, savings, things like that could certainly be emphasized. Now, with that being said, of course, that Mars is squaring up to Neptune, as I was saying, around Thursday. And the Mars will be trining Jupiter, so we'll talk about that. But in terms of the square up to Neptune, maybe there is something that is uncertain about, like, you know, we could have some doubt, some confusion about something. Again, that's not specifically what's going to happen for you, but it's possible. If there's anything like that, it seems like it's outside of your control, and you really have to kind of detach from and surrender. As I was saying in the general forecast, you know, I think it's very important this week, specifically around Thursday. And as a result, I think you will be developing more of that acceptance. And if there is anything you can do to challenge yourself to have more acceptance in your life in general, maybe involving you, maybe again something to do with the finances or the material aspects of things, yes, you can find this very, very constructive and see the positive results of this dissolving that happens, right? Because the dissolving of the ego means we become more accepting, more detached, more easygoing, more tranquil. We find that peace in life. In fact, if there is anything you can do to challenge yourself with spiritual activities such as meditation, prayer, yoga, things of that nature that you feel like puts you in a state of presence, can be great ways of challenging yourself this middle part of the week. Now, this confusion or doubt or something like that may have something to do with your future aspirations for some of you, and then others, it may have something to do with either group thing or friends or your network circles. Okay, so either your personal aspirations or group things, and detaching, letting go, seeing how it's unfolding, and challenging yourself to do that is fantastic. And this is, you know, also emphasized in terms of the spiritual stuff. You know, you do have a lot of 12th house activity. In fact, that Mercury is going to be conjoining up to that Uranus for the last and final time here on Tuesday, suggesting I think a lot of you have learned a lot about something here in the spiritual realm. For some of you, it might be psychology. Others, it's maybe just simply getting more rest. Further, others, it might be literally spiritual things like meditation, stuff like that. But whatever it is, it's freeing you. It's freeing you up. And I think Tuesday coming into this week, there is this shift of the freedom of letting go, or the freedom of finding peace through surrender. And that can be a very liberating force for you as well. Okay, so definitely, and it's very active time. Happy birthday, by the way, for those of you who have your birthdays this week, watching for your sun signs. But for all of you, it's been a very active time. You know, with the sun in your first house, very much focused on yourself, your personal needs. That is great, still the case. But yes, with all this 12th house activity, with Mars squaring Neptune, very good for that detachment, particularly this week. All right, so now looking at this from the financial side of it specifically, yes, this is that Mars, okay? So, you know, there's an inspiration to all of this. As I was saying, you know, there is that square, but then there's also this trine up to Jupiter, and Jupiter has been in your 6th house of your work and your routine. So there is definitely a supportive element here, and I would say, you know, strongest probably on Friday in terms of maybe feeling a bit inspired, you know, in some way. Or maybe there's a new opportunity. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised for a lot of you if there was some sort of opportunity at work or with work or at your routine or something like that. And it's shifting you into this new direction. And I think there is hope with it. There's inspiration about it. So utilize it. There may even been financial opportunities, and maybe it's synced up like that in some way, as it often is with the earth houses. You know, finances is from the work and the career and stuff oftentimes. But generally, for everyone, right? Whatever this is, could be an opportunity, could give you an inspiration. Utilize it. And yes, cultivate this, this sense of self-worth. You know, if there's any doubt about that too, know that you do have everything you need to cultivate your true values in life, whether they're financial or not. And it's about accessing that. It's about accessing your natural gifts, your natural abilities, right? And your resourcefulness, and even your self-reliance too. Standing on your own 2 feet, taking the action, but with that detached perspective. All right, so looking at this now, oh, I do also want to mention, actually, the sun is going to shift into your second Saturday and going into next week. So there is this whole new foundation being laid here with finances on another level, if it hasn't already. Once the sun shifts in there, and then the next new moon will be in that second house in a couple weeks as well. So good to focus on that stuff, as I was saying, but you could feel even more focus, even clarity perhaps about the financial stuff by week's end and next week. All right, looking at this from that work sector, yes, that Jupiter is in the 6th supporting all of this stuff that could be going on. That Mercury does rule your 6th house of routine. So a lot of you are changing your routine this early part of the week around Tuesday, mixing things up, maybe some freedom with that, maybe some freedom with work. Again, maybe some opportunity, some new change to your environment, new change to your routine. And I think it's so that you can have more peace, again, in the 12th house. Some of you might be working behind the scenes or alone or something like that. Others maybe just finding that there is more tranquility in your everyday experiences. And that can be, yes, a very freeing thing. All right, so yeah, so Tuesdays are triggering with that. Maybe something new and different, as there has been these past weeks involving the work, and then that Friday time with the trine up to Jupiter. All right, looking at this now for relationships, you got a full moon in your 7th house of relationships this week. If there has been anything new, that's either maybe some of you a romantic relationship, others a business partnership, or even friends for some of you, whatever new in terms of fundamentally your perspective of relationship has been the past 6 months, or started about 6 months ago. This is the high point. And I think around Wednesday, it's an excellent time to do the status check about relationships, and where, again, you can have that cooperation, harmony, work with others, balance things. You know, with the sun in your 1st house, it is the time for you to be expressing yourself, cultivating your personal needs. But with this full moon now, how can you do both, right? You know, focus on your needs and focus on others' needs. If it is a specific relationship, or if it's generally about relationships, yeah, where you can have harmony, cooperation, balance, and even, again, justice, doing the right thing, all right, which is all about the 7th and Libra. All right, so Aries, that is the week in a nutshell. A lot going on, and a lot of it is involving a lot of the different areas of life. You got this full moon in your relationship sector. You do have opportunities here with the work and routine sector. It's all about change, I think, for you. And the financial, this is really where things are being emphasized for you at the moment. If it's not financial, it's your values, it's your sense of self-worth, your self-reliance, and yes, letting go to a degree, but also seeing the possibilities and potentials to expand your horizons. All right, Aries, so have a fantastic week. Thank you for all of your support. If you'd like a personal reading, there's a link down in the comment section. And let me know if you have any questions, but have a great one, and I'll see you all next week. All right, Taurus, welcome to your weekly forecast. So first, looking at yourself, you do have a lot of emphasis in your 11th, right? Your ruler Venus is still up here. It's been a very aspiring time for a lot of you. Some of you really reestablishing maybe some friendships or the whole friendship area of your life. Some of you may be involved with groups, community stuff, but whatever it is, I think fundamentally it is about your future aspirations, where you see yourself in the future. What are your hopes and wishes, and how can you cultivate that? And I think with Mercury conjoining up to Uranus here this early part of the week around Tuesday, there might be some final culmination of this in a sense. You know, if you've been rethinking this area, redoing these aspirations, reestablishing this stuff, this is the final now maybe push for freedom, right? Freedom of what Uranus has been helping you do, which is really to find the freedom of cultivating the aspirations that are true to you, true to you personally. And you could be learning about that, and there could be maybe a new opportunity or something shifting with that this early part of the week. All right, so with that being said, you do have Mars in your first house, so a lot of you are very direct at the moment. Yes, expressing yourself in direct ways. But along with that, the sun is in your 12th, so there is still this very tranquil side of your nature. Some of you may be getting a bit of R&R rest or just more easygoing. Learning more about yourself psychologically can be excellent at this time. So now looking at this from the, actually one thing I do want to say before we move on to the next segment is that Mars, because Mars is playing a very important role this week, squaring up to Neptune, trining up to Jupiter. If you do feel this middle part like there is some confusion, there is some uncertainty about, again, where you're putting your energy with Mars in your first house, it's good to detach, right? As I was saying in the general, take a step back, be as present as you can, maybe challenge yourself with some spiritual activities. This may have to do with your work or your career in some sense, with Neptune up in the 10th house, maybe something involving that or through that area that is uncertain or will be important to surrender and let go. But as a result, I think you're seeing certainly that there's a lot of support here to continue to take action, continue to be direct, just in a much more accepting way. Again, surrendering everything outside of that control. And as a result, yes, you will throughout this week be becoming more accepting in your nature, more easygoing, while still getting things done and being your direct self. So the trine up to Jupiter is really supporting this, and this is that you could be feeling quite expressive actually this week, or some of you maybe some new hobbies, interests, some of you spicing up your relationships. Romance could be emphasized with the trine to your first house like this. And yeah, and anything else that's close to your heart, right? Spending time with those close to your heart and things that are close to your heart, such as creative projects, hobbies, interests, things like that. Very, very inspiring, very, very supportive energy, particularly around Friday. All right, so now let's shift to the financial side of things. This is seen by Mercury for you. Yes, a lot of you have been thinking about the whole future thing involving finances and all of this. And Tuesday, maybe something new and different, mixing things up, right? About the finances. Innovative ways of investing or making money is certainly quite possible. Some new ideas about this, and maybe some new opportunities about just seeing your whole financial side of life in a way that does align with your freedom, all right? Does align with what you're truly about. Because sometimes finances can hinder us, or sometimes they can free us. And, it depends on our perspective. So your perspective on this is changing. And I think Tuesday could certainly be a shift in this direction, which could really free up, at the very least, your perspective on finances, but maybe even quite literally the financial area of your life. All right, so now looking at this in terms of the work sector, you got a full moon in your 6th. So even though here's the thing. So you have this square to your 10th, this middle part of the week, and there might be some uncertainty, but then at the same time, there's also this culmination and status check about your daily work, your job, what you do on a daily level. And if there's been anything that you've started anew here 6 months ago, that could be regarded as your work or your daily activities, things are certainly coming to a high point. All right, so it's an excellent week to do a status check, See how things are going in this work sector of your life. See what's working, see what's not, and let go of what's not. Continue to put energy into what is. And I think you'll find this to be a very fruitful time, or at least a time of where you're gaining some insights about your work this week. All right. Now the relationships. This is seen by that Mars in the first house. I think relationships have been very emphasized for you lately. And Mars with the square up to Neptune. So yeah, maybe this week there is some uncertainty about the relationship area that does require detachment. Again, it's all about being present, surrendering what you don't have control over. But then at kind of the same time and a little bit later, like the day after, you know, here around Friday, the trine up to Jupiter. Maybe there's some inspiration about relationships, maybe relationship opportunity, you know, something like that. Again, it might involve self-expression. It might involve romance. It might involve fun and playfulness, which has really been such a key area for you with Jupiter in that fifth. But whatever it is, I think, yeah, just seeing the opportunities in your life, and, you know, being grateful for who you have in your life already. And maybe if you're, for those of you who are feeling like you want to go out and meet people or something like that, could be very inspiring to do that. And there could certainly be you know, some opportunities there as well. All right, so Taurus, I hope you have a fantastic week. Thank you for all of your support. If you'd like a personal reading, there's a link down in the comment section. But also feel free to let me know if you have any questions. And I will see you all next week. Take care. All right, Geminis, welcome to your segment of the weekly horoscope here. So first things first, your ruler Mercury up in the 10th house of career. We'll look more at career here in just a bit, but yes, I think you're focused here. And anything that is about your productive ability, you know, future goals, success, achievement in your life, really good to be focused on that stuff. I think you've learned a lot about your career, your productive life lately with Mercury here for such a long time. But here Tuesday, I think it's particularly about freedom, you know, where you can have more freedom in your career, in your work, and just in general in your life. I think, you know, regardless of the 10th house, just having your ruler next to Uranus is that you've been learning a lot about freedom of being who you are and mixing things up, trying new things, thinking outside the box. And Tuesday could certainly be another shift in this direction, a sort of culminating shift about feeling a bit freer, feeling a bit expressive, and yeah, just being who you are and changing your life to reflect that as well, perhaps. So that's very strong, very much emphasized. Now, you're likely getting things done in a very receptive way right now, which I think can be very good. You do have Mars in your 12th house, which means that things that motivate you are probably on a deeper level or on a spiritual level or psychological level. In fact, it's a very good time to understand more about yourself psychologically. with Mars here in your 12th house, and how you can get things done in a receptive way. But not specifically for your sign, but maybe there will be a bit of a clash this middle part of the week. I mean, it's a very supportive week, but on some level, Mars squaring up to Neptune, maybe something uncertain about your being, about your spiritual self, your psychological, deeper self and all this. So if that's the case, I mean, as best as you can, just surrendering, letting go, detaching, that can certainly help free you up. It may involve friends for some of you, or your aspirations may seem a bit uncertain or doubtful. But know that this is about something much larger, right? The 12th house is about the larger perspective on things. And, as you detach and, let go of everything outside of that control, it could certainly help you free yourself up and find more peace in your life. So not totally emphasized, but I did want to mention that with Mars there. And it is going to involve your work, which we'll talk about too a bit. All right, so now looking at the financial side of things, this is always seen by the moon, right? The finances for you sort of do the cyclical thing with the moon. And we do have a full moon, so it could be a high point for you here this week financially. But this is on a monthly sort of level. I think what you could be gaining insight about, at least financially, is having fun. How fun can be linked with finances for you in some way, or through your investments or whatever that is. And even your sense of self-worth could be very strong with a full moon in your 5th. Feeling like, yes, you can cultivate your values. You can pursue the things that you do want in life. And, sometimes it is about having a bit of fun there. The creative, fun, playful aspect of ourselves coming out. And then as a result, seeing opportunities or whatever it might be there financially. All right, so that's that area. In terms of work, yes, 10th house certainly being emphasized. It's all about freedom with your work, I think, this week, as it has been. Mixing things up, trying new things. A lot of you may be getting some new insights, innovative things with your work. Thinking outside the box is fantastic. Still is a great time to be focused on networking too, with the sun in your 11th. Your friends, network circles, all of that can be a great source of energy. And yes, so this 6th house, a lot of you have been working very hard at your routine and your work these past couple years. And so that's great. Continue to do that. But there might be, again, with that Mars squaring up to Neptune, maybe a bit of uncertainty about the routine or about the work stuff here around Thursday. But again, it's about the detachment, especially because your ruler of work is in the 12th. It's important to be, I guess, going about your routine in that more receptive way, getting the rest, enjoying yourself, whatever that might mean for you personally. And it's not all challenging, though, with that. The trine up to Jupiter really supports. In fact, some of you might get some work opportunities or feel a bit inspired about your work this week, probably more so on Friday. And a lot of this has been specifically because in this level that a lot of you have seen some openings with either connecting with your home life, your location for some of you, your family, and your health. And all of this stuff is very much supporting you this week. Really good for that more personal stuff in life. All right, now in terms of relationships, some of you could be coming to a high point with the romantic side of your life. It's certainly possible. You got a full moon in your 5th house, or doing a status check about romance. This can be new relationships or existing ones, spicing up your current romantic relationship. Or if you're single, just expressing yourself, having a bit of fun, playfulness, because that's what romance is really about anyways, the lighter side to life. But whatever it is, there is this now fullness about your self-expression, about the things close to your heart. And I think that can be a very positive force for you. Just generally in terms of expressing yourself in relationships, but also with your personal life. Some of you may be finding that, you're continuing with some hobbies or interests or things like that. Now, I do want to say too, since Jupiter does rule your 7th, yes, around Friday, maybe feeling a bit motivated there, a bit confident in your relationships, and wanting a bit of, spice there too. Mars is about that drive. It's about what we want. It's about our attraction. And that could be very strong, whether it's romantic or not. I think you're just very direct, very assertive, really to the point in your relationships, which could be a very supportive thing this middle part of the week, around Friday in particular. All right, so Geminis, hope you have a fantastic week. I do want to thank you all very much for all of your likes, comments, and shares. If you'd like a personal reading, there is a link down in the comment section for that. But I hope you found this video helpful, and I will see you all next week. All right, Cancers, welcome to your weekly forecast. So let's see here. In terms of this full moon, right, your ruler, the moon, is full this week, which is usually an energetic time for you. You got the awareness, you got the momentum, and as it always is for everyone too, the status check. And what I think is coming to a head for you and what the status check is about your home, family, or your health. Either, you know, these are just some examples. You got the full moon in your 4th house, which is about everything that's personal in your life, everything that you might consider a root, a foundation, and there can certainly be a culmination. So if there has been anything over the past six months or past couple weeks, there could be this now culmination of these things, and it could be about how to balance probably both your personal life and your work and career life, because the sun's in your 10th. You know, we'll talk more about this, but there's a lot of focus right now on your career, on your productive life. And so now with this status check about your home life or your health or whatever it is, it's about seeing that it's about bridging the gap here, bringing these two together and doing the status check. How are these areas going? Particularly the personal life stuff, the home, the health stuff. How's that going? And you'll likely notice some things are working, some things are not. So you're just basically shifting from what isn't working and starting to put energy into what is here for you. All right, so with that being said, you do have a lot of 9th house energy. You got Mercury going over Uranus here on Tuesday. So a lot of you have been learning a lot about either philosophy, higher learning, university studies for you. Some of you may be traveling, getting into your adventurous side. But whatever's been expanding your horizons mentally or quite literally or emotionally or whatever it's been, there's now this final shift here about, yes, this is about freedom. This is about freedom of perhaps thinking big, freedom of tapping into that adventurous spirit, that spirit for life. And I think a lot of it's about just your perspective. Maybe it's quite literal things, but I think most fundamentally it's your perspective, right? Your perspective about, seeing the big picture. So something new there, something shifting that has already been sort of brewing this past month and a half, these past couple weeks, that could be solidifying this importance of freedom when it comes to seeing the larger perspective of life. Okay, so now looking at this from the financial side of things, you do have the North Node in your 2nd house. It's a great year for learning about finances. Here, the end of the week on Sunday, Mercury does trine up to that North Node, so be learning more about this. And again, I think it's how it links up with all of this much larger perspective you've got and how that does support, more of this cultivation of your material security, your development. But again, it's like you're just supported here to learn about it. And the more you try new things, experiment, see what excites you there, which is Leo. You're passionate about, and all this could certainly be, supporting this financial area. In terms of the ruler, the sun there, the sun is going to be trining up to Pluto on Tuesday. So there is quite a bit of support coming into the week with this area. You could be feeling quite confident or self-reliant, self-motivated, and maybe making some changes, maybe in a positive way financially for some of you, but just diving deeper in that area, feeling like you're more connected to that area. All right, and this is again linked with a lot of the career stuff that's been going on, because you do have the sun in the 10th. So certainly is this emphasis about perhaps income from your work or income from your career at the moment. In fact, a lot of you are very motivated towards this, likely with Mars in the 11th. All right, so now looking at this in terms of the work specifically, yes, the sun's at the top of the chart. A lot of your energy is good generally right now with the sun and Mars at the top of your chart in a yearly sense, you could say. And this could also be a high point with anything new you started 2 weeks ago involving your career on a minor level, short-term goals or something like that. But yes, things coming ahead and coming into the week, maybe some support, feeling like there's some positive changes, or that you're just feeling more deep and connected to your career at the moment. Now, with that being said, Mars, who does rule your 10th house in the 11th, a lot of you have likely been, maybe networking or examining more about what you actually value in your career. And so it's an excellent time to do that. Now, because Mars does rule your 10th house, Mars is going to be squaring up to Neptune a bit later in the week, here around Thursday. Maybe there's some uncertainty about the career stuff sort of coming into the picture a bit later. So it's important to detach, right? As I was saying in the general, detach, surrender, let go as best as you can. That will free you up, help you, dissolve any projections and help you be more accepting, because they're saying there's something larger here. There's something larger at work involving the career. So continuing to, I think, focus on what you do have control over, which is more than likely more of the the networking or something like, getting into, asking yourself what you really enjoy and enjoy connecting to in your career, and let go of everything else. I think you can find that perhaps to be a useful way of working with this. Now, with that being said, it's not all challenging, and Mars is going to be trining up to Jupiter right after that at pretty much the same time, but more so on Friday. Suggesting that there might be some career opportunities for you, or some of you are just feeling a bit optimistic, inspired, hopeful about the career stuff. And it might have a lot to do with what you've been learning lately, perhaps. Jupiter's been in your 3rd house of learning, like your studies, books, reading, writing, or if some of you have been writing, or if some of you have been learning more about communication. That kind of mental, practical stuff is very much supporting your career this week, okay? So that's that segment. In terms of your relationships, this is seen by Saturn, who does rule your 7th house. Saturn's actually a pretty good aspect this week, trining up to Mercury around that Thursday time period. So you could, communication, I think, is really the benefit here. And in relationships, probably feeling like the communication is flowing. Now, this has been a Saturn in your 5th house of your self-expression. So a lot of you have gotten a bit of a break, I think, recently, if you have been feeling more limited with your self-expression, or it's been harder to, cultivate the things that you are passionate about and all this, and maybe even romance or whatever. Just everything here about passion is just a little bit more serious. But whatever that is, I think, yes, it's very much an easy aspect this week, very kind of lifting up, especially with Saturn retrograde through there. And a lot of you are like rethinking, and so continue to rethink the relationship sphere and how it fits in with your passions and your self-expression and the fun and playfulness and you want in life and all of this. But very supportive time here, specifically with communication and learning from others, and that could be a very supportive force. All right, so Cancers, the way I would sum this up is you've got this full moon, high point of your monthly sort of cycle with your ruler of the moon, status check about home, family, or health stuff, how to balance that with the career stuff. And the work, which may have a bit of uncertainty about it, and letting that go, that uncertainty go as best as you can, challenging yourself there, can help free you up. But there's a lot of support for the career and just in general for your aspirations with a trine up to Jupiter, which is all about learning. And I think it's a very good week for learning, give and take, exchanging of ideas, communication, things like that, especially when you're coming from that sort of perspective of willing to learn about it. All right, so yep, Cancers, have an excellent week. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please like, comment, and share. If you'd like a personal reading, there's a link down in the comment section for that as well. You can also feel free to let me know if you have any questions. But have a great one, and I will see you all next week. All right, Leos, welcome to your weekly forecast. So let's first have a look here at your ruler, the sun, who has been in the ninth house. A lot of you have been expanding your horizons. It might be mental for some of you, such as higher learning, university studies. Maybe it's spiritual for some of you, or quite literally, adventure, travel, that kind of thing for, for that ninth house. Now, we do have this full moon taking place this week in your third, which could mean that if over the past couple weeks you did start something new here in this more open-minded or adventurous side of your life, could be coming to a head. And it's an excellent time this middle part of the week to do the status check about it or in general, and see what's working, what's not, and if there's been anything over the past 6 months involving learning for you, specifically practical learning, reading, writing, communication, courses, things like that, that could also be coming ahead this week here around Wednesday. But in either case, for all of you, it's an excellent time to do the status check about your mind, your perspective on things, how you can have both the adventure and open-mindedness stuff in your life, the more expansive, theoretical, right side of the brain type of stuff, but balance that with the left side of the brain, with the practical. And that's really what the third house is all about. How can things be implemented practically, in a grounded sense, realistically? Because what is possible is actually practical, right? Not everything that's possible is practical. It's just what is actually possible is practical. And what is practical is possible, right? So we need both perspectives. We need to see both the science, you could say, but then also the hypotheses, the potentials, the possibilities. And so this is happening internally, right? This is about your perspective. And I think You know, your perspective is shifting this week. It's being integrated. And with this full moon, you could certainly be moving forward anything that you've already started to see in a new sort of light. And I think the more open you are to seeing things in a new light and new perspective, really does support this. By the way, too, the third house is also peers and siblings. So on that level, maybe there are some things coming ahead there. It's also trade and business, if that's personal for you also. All right, now you do have a lot of 8th house emphasis. You got Mercury going over Uranus for the last time here. A lot of you have been learning a lot about openness, vulnerability, the deeper aspects of life lately with all this retrograde motion in Pisces. So there's something freeing here, as there has been something freeing this past, particularly, I think, couple weeks. But here this week around Tuesday, freeing in terms of, yes, the freedom of being open, vulnerable with yourself, with life, with relationships, you know, whatever it might be. But that's how it all starts, right? With yourself first. And so, yeah, you could be maybe learning something new about yourself, letting go of some fears, breaking some past patterns, you know, and this is all very liberating. And I think this is a very liberating time. And coming into this week could certainly be that way. All right, now looking at this from the financial side of things, you do have Jupiter trining up to Mars from the second house. There is a lot of support, I think, for the earthy aspects of life, like finances and your work and stuff, especially with Jupiter here. A lot of you have seen a lot of opportunities lately, or just been a bit more expansion, or you've just been a bit more open and inspired in this area. So utilizing it, there could be some motivation here around Friday to cultivate some of the investments or material stuff, and you could find that a very supportive force for you. And this is also freeing you up financially too, because coming into the week, Mercury going over Uranus, Mercury rules your second house, freeing up the finances, helping you see this stuff that truly matters in life, what really matters. This is the 8th house stuff. All this openness, vulnerability, deeper stuff you're doing is very much involved with finances. And, you know, how, yes, money and these surface things are great, but what does it truly mean to you? What truly matters about it most? And the more you kind of, you know, dive deep with that, or just more, I think, just free yourself up from any perspectives. Again, it's all about the shift of perspective here. Could really help you have more freedom with your financial life, and you could just be feeling that way coming into the week. And for some of you, maybe finding out that there is some opportunities with other people's money, such as loans or investments in the sense that involves others. Or maybe using debt in healthy ways, right? Stuff like this could be shifting for you if you've been sort of in that realm of the 8th house. All right, so yeah, that's the financial. In terms of the work sector, you do have Mars up there in the 10th house. There's a lot of motivation, drive, I think, for your career or for achievement and success right now. So certainly utilizing it can be great, as it has been. But there might be some uncertainty about your career stuff maybe here around Thursday when Mars squares up to that Neptune. Might have something to do with partnerships or relationships or clients or something like that, whatever it is. And I think the more detached you are, surrender, again, it's an important aspect, but there's so much else going on with this. I feel like it's playing a role, but it's a sub role. And so as you kind of detach, let go of what's outside of your control here with the career, with relationship stuff, and maybe even too with this expansive stuff involving whatever that 9th house is that I talked about, that's great. That'll help you detach, help you surrender, help you let go. Could even have to do with home stuff. It's possible for some of you. But yeah, surrender, detachment, Wednesday, Thursday, very important. And as a result, you'll likely feel much more easygoing in these areas and flowing. Because the ego's been dissolved, and we're more in tune, we're more accepting as a result of that. So, but yes, there's a trine up to Jupiter. As I was saying, there's a lot of support in the earthy area. So right after that on Friday, Jupiter trining Mars in the 10th, you could be inspired financially, maybe do some investing, or maybe some of you probably more so about your career though, how you can generate some more income through your career, your work. Some of you may be getting a promotion or something like that, or not yet, but you're feeling hopeful about it, inspired towards it. So utilize that inspiration, utilize that motivation, drive towards the career stuff, again, just in that detached way, But yes, it's an excellent time generally to cultivate things just with a willingness to let go of what we do not have control over. Okay, so very good there. Inspiration, and the sun is actually going to shift into your 10th house on Saturday, and that'll be starting a whole new beginning in a couple weeks involving your career, which is around the corner. But this weekend, yeah, probably more focused on productivity, achievement, success, and that'll be taking you into next week. All right, now in terms of the relationship stuff, not a whole lot going on for your particular sign, but again, you do want to watch this for the others, for your other signs as well. Yeah, Saturn will be trining up to Mercury here around Thursday, and so you could be quite grounded in your thinking and in your communication with relationships. So it's supportive. It's certainly grounding that. And you could just find a bit of flow with the communicative sphere of things. In fact, the relationship stuff is playing a much larger role because Saturn trining up to Uranus, particularly next week. But this second half of the week, you could feel that, yes, there is freedom here. There is change occurring. And it's very exciting, actually. And so as you approach May 19th, you'll likely have a new perspective about relationships, about freedom in relationships. And excitement there, you know, grounded though, grounded change. All right, so Leos, hope you have a fantastic week. Thank you for all of your likes, comments, and shares. If you'd like a personal reading, there's a link down in the comment section for that. But I hope you found this video helpful, and I will see you all next week. All right, Virgos, welcome to your weekly forecast. So let's look at your ruler, Mercury, who's in the 7th house of relationships. We'll look at this a bit further, but yeah, you've likely learned a lot, and you are continuing to learn a lot about relationships. Maybe there's been something new and different. I think it's about freedom in relationships to a degree. And here coming into the week on Tuesday, you could be feeling quite free, just generally with your ruler over Uranus. So making changes in your life, major or minor, that are a reflection of what you're about, changing your perspective on things. And as a result, yes, I think you're finding that you are more of who you are, right? Or you're just freer, you're letting go, you're more detached in that sense. And there can be a lot of harmony and cooperation relationship stuff just kind of coming as a result, or it's helping you. A lot of times we learn through others and through our relationships as well. So that's very much emphasized. You do have, let's see, Jupiter in your 1st house, making good aspects up to Mars this week here. The middle part, you could be feeling quite motivated, driven, certainly possible. I think you are seeing the inspirations or possibilities in your life. So utilize that if you are feeling that. And yeah, you got all this, well, just the sun actually in your 8th house, which has been a bigger focus on what really matters in life, the deeper dimensions, openness, vulnerability, perhaps maybe in those relationships. But whatever it is, the sun in the 8th can really help you, as it has been these past few weeks, really connect to what matters most in life and open up to that. And you do have Mars in your 9th, So there is a lot of motivation, drive towards expanding your horizons. That might mean for your learning, mental horizons, being open-minded, or it could be that some of you are more motivated towards going out, getting some fresh air, travel, hike, walks. Things like this can be very motivating as well. Okay. So with that being said, let's look at the financial side of things. You got a full moon in your second house this week. Great time to do a status check in terms of how are your investments, your financial life, all of this. If there's been anything over the past 6 months that has started here in this area, it could be culminating, but at the very least, there's awareness about it. And so around Wednesday, do the status check, see what's working, what's not, and then shift. And I think there will be a shift in this area, definitely for the better. And it is a very supportive full moon. But yeah, through the insight, implement it and continue to cultivate these true values of yours. Because what's really expanding this middle part of the week is your sense of self-worth, self-reliance. All right, and so utilizing that moving forward. All right, now in terms of the work sector, this is seen by Mercury, who rules your 10th house of career, just like your ruler, going over Uranus. A lot of you have been, maybe lately these past couple of weeks, seeing the freedom of making some changes with your career, mixing some things up there. Might involve relationships in some way. I think right now it's great to be cultivating your relationships for all areas of life, but probably in terms of your career specifically with that Uranus conjunction there. But it's all about freedom, right? Freedom with your career, changes there, or just being more of yourself, or aligning it with more of who you are and yourself really is the theme. And on Tuesday, maybe some opportunities, maybe some new shifts about implementing more freedom in that area. All right, so let me see what else. And then you do have Neptune in your 6th house of routine, which will be squaring up to Mars. So if there is anything that is uncertain or doubtful or something like that involving your work, or maybe it's just in your everyday sphere, maybe just the days around, Thursday, and maybe there's a bit of like clash or something like that. Mars, it's all about the drives, personal needs. Maybe it's not yours, maybe it's someone else's or something, I don't know. But whatever it is, if there is anything that you can detach from, surrender, let go. Maybe it is about your work and career, like maybe things aren't unfolding exactly how we expected them to or something like that. The more detached you are with that, I think the better. And that's really what Neptune's been helping you do anyways for the past many years in the 6th, is how to live more presently, accept, understand there's this divine process unfolding with your work and routine. All right, now in terms of relationships, yeah, this is certainly the key area for you with your ruler and all these planets in your 7th house, as they have been. But yeah, maybe Tuesday, something new and different about freedom in relationships can be very liberating, can be cultivating anything that you have been considering about freedom here the past month and a half roughly, and being who you are, and in allowing your relationships the same freedom as well. And I think you're willing to do that. I think it's all very supportive, and the result, I think, will just be a bit more excitement, a bit more fun, a bit more, a freeing perspective in terms of any relationships you're in, but then also your whole perspective of relationships in general. And you do have Jupiter, who is going to be trining up to Mars here on Friday in terms of relationships. So yeah, a lot of you are very direct this later part of the week. Probably very direct in your relationships, very assertive, independent, and that's really the name of the game for you, because you got your ruler in the 7th. It is about balancing self and other, and you're seeing yourself through other, and you're learning about yourself through other, and others through you, right? So it works both ways, but this is about both. And I think cultivating relationships for you is so important. You're learning a lot about yourself, and yes, there can certainly be some directness, independence, and assertiveness coming out of all of this. Very strong self-exploration through others at the moment. All right, so Virgos, the way I would sum up this week is, first of all, generally there's a full moon, and it is in your 2nd house. So great time to do status check in terms of what you value in life, whether it's financial or not, and utilizing that self-reliance and self-worth. You do have a lot of 7th house emphasis. I think it's particularly on Tuesday about freedom here, liberation, excitement in relationships, maybe something new and different. which can be very exciting and just give you a bit more of just excitement in your life and just feeling like, yes, you can be more free, be more who you are, maybe in your relationships or with a particular relationship. You do have Mars in your 9th house, great for, motivating yourself towards expanding your horizons, whether it's mentally or quite literally. And the Sun in your 8th is helping you really get deep at the moment in terms of where you can, cultivate what truly matters most to you in life. And that's all part of the finance material full moon. It's how you can cultivate the material stuff, but then also the non-material. Like what are the finances actually providing? What does it actually mean? And, connecting there as well. All right, so Virgos, have a fantastic week. I do want to thank you all very much for all of your likes, comments, and shares. Hope you found this video helpful. And if you'd like a personal reading, there's a link down in the comment section. But I will see you all next week. Take care. All right, Libras, welcome to your weekly forecast. So you all have a full moon in your first house, which means you're kind of at this 6-month time period, as halfway point of your yearly cycle. So an excellent time to be reflecting on the past 6 months of your life. Anything new that started at that time specifically or just generally makes it a great time to just evaluate, see how things are going. Now, usually during a full moon, we notice that some things are working, some things are not. And usually there's some sort of transition, meaning maybe there is something to let go of on some level that you feel like you don't want to bring into the rest of the cycle, or is no longer serving you, or is just something that's already being released anyways. So do that status check this week around Wednesday, I think is great. Also see what has culminated, because some things have culminated over these past 6 months, and continue to put energy into those things, those harvests, continue to nurture those plants, so to speak, as we move forward into the next 6 months. Also, a really good time to do a status check about your personal needs, what you want in life, who you are, where you're headed, and continue to cultivate those things that are important to you. Now, looking at the financial side of matters, this is seen by Mars for you, who is getting that square up to Neptune, but also that trine up to Jupiter. He's in your 8th house. I think right now is an excellent time to really be, as it has been, seeing what truly, what you truly value, what goes beyond the surface level of things, what truly matters to you. In terms of like, if it's the finances, the money, it's like, what does that actually provide you? What is that giving? What is that connection there? Some of you are maybe getting into your interdependent side, maybe relying on others a bit, which is completely normal, right? Completely fine. We often think that we have to be so self-reliant nowadays, but equally as important is relying on others. That might mean financially for some of you. Others may be working with other people's money, or loans, working with debts, or something like that, could be emphasized at the moment. So with that being said, Mars squaring up to Neptune does suggest that here around Thursday, maybe there is some uncertainty about this financial or material stuff, or maybe about your sense of self-worth, self-reliance. But trust me, you do have everything that you need to cultivate your values. But it might require maybe letting some things go that are outside of your sphere of influence, that are outside of your control, and that can very much free you up. So with that being said, though, the Mars trining Jupiter gives you some inspiration here. So just a little after, around that same time, though, on Friday, there is this this inspiration. And if you do feel it, great. I think it is about the deeper dimensions of life, but it could certainly be financial, financial in nature as well. And maybe it's, Jupiter in the 12th, helping you see that it is, again, going beyond the surface level of things. It's about having peace in life and enjoyment in life and all of this. And that inspiration there could really be a motivating force for you to continue to cultivate this area. Now, in terms of the work sector, this has been very activated for you with Mercury and Venus here in your 6th. Mercury going over Uranus here around Tuesday. A lot of you have been maybe re-examining or rethinking these past couple weeks, about freedom and the freedom in your work particularly, and even the past many years with Uranus in that 6th house. So a final shift, a final change about implementing some of this freedom in your daily activities or maybe with your work. And this can be an excellent way of coming into the week, of just being open to change, trying new things, mixing things up. All right, and Venus is here too, so you could be enjoying, still maybe connecting to your relationships at work as well. All right, now in terms of the relationship sector in particular, this is seen by Mars. So just like with the financial, maybe there is a bit of uncertainty about the relationship stuff or in an interaction or something like that. And again, as best as we can, detaching with the square, surrendering, find that peace there. Compassion, understanding can be very important, especially the way you express yourself with Neptune there in the 5th. But yeah, whatever it is, detachment. But then right after that, the trine up to Jupiter does give you a bit of inspiration in this area, maybe even, opportunity to connect. And I think it's more about, again, the easygoingness, the spiritual connection, Mars in the 8th house, the openness, the vulnerability, all of this. That is really being emphasized for you in terms of relationships. It's the next level. It's how we really build trust and deeper relationships through that. vulnerability. And I think relationships are very much emphasized for you. You know, you got Sun in the 7th house. I think there's focus here. There could even be a culmination of some relationship shifts that happened a couple weeks ago. And again, this is coming back to the whole importance of having balance between your personal needs and your relationships or others' needs. And they're really just two sides of the same coin. You know, we can't have healthy sense of self without healthy relationships, and can't have healthy relationships without a healthy sense of self and self-awareness and, you know, being clear about what we want in life. So certainly this axis of self and other and relationships are still a great place for you to focus on, express yourself, get deeper with, detach a bit with this week with that square to Neptune, but then, you know, going into the weekend, hopeful, inspired, use some of that, maybe even some opportunities here to enjoy some new and existing relationships. All right, so Libras, hope you all have a fantastic week. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please like, comment, and share. If you have any questions, feel free to comment down below as well. There's also a link there for a personal reading if you'd like one of those. But yeah, hope you have a great one, and I will see you all next week. All right, Scorpion Ophiuchus, welcome to your weekly forecast. So yeah, your ruler Mars is in the 7th house of relationships. I think it's still a great time for cultivating your relationships, being direct in your relationships, and yeah, just really establishing your personal needs in relationships as well, especially if it's like romantic or, you know, your marriage or partnership, whatever that might be, if, you know, if you're in a romantic relationship. But whatever it is, very good there for motivating yourself here in this area, and it's certainly activating it. Now, your ruler, Mars, is forming a couple aspects that square up to Neptune and this trine up to Jupiter. So in terms of the square up to Neptune, I think particularly around Thursday, if there is anything that you can do to detach, to let go, to surrender, I think it involves you generally, but it could be about relationships. It could also be about your work, which we'll look at in more detail. But because it's your ruler, yes, the more you can work on acceptance, detachment, peace, space, things like meditation, prayer, yoga, things like this can certainly help cultivate this nature within you. And as a result, yes, you will be much more accepting and tranquil throughout this, you know, as a result of this process, whether it's, you know, at the end of this week or down the road. Now, that Mars, though, is also trining up to Jupiter. In fact, right after that on Friday, it will go exact, which means that there is inspiration. There's hopefulness. This is a very good aspect to have Jupiter trining the ruler like this. So you can be very open-minded. I think a lot of this is about opportunities with future things, maybe your aspirations. Some of you maybe to connect with your friends or your network circles or community. There's certainly some opportunities there. But yeah, whatever it is, going into the weekend, using that inspiration, using that open mind and opportunity if one does present itself to you. Now, in terms of the financial side of things, this is seen by Jupiter, who does rule that 2nd house, and Jupiter is in good aspect. So on that Friday time period, yes, you could be quite motivated financially. or you could be feeling quite confident. Your self-reliance could be very strong. Your sense of self-worth could be very strong. And there might even be something there about relationships, opportunity, partnership, something, but it's supporting you, or a partner supporting you or something like that when it comes to this financial area. And I think just continuing to see the future with it, right? Future things and networking and all this could certainly be the area in which you are cultivating not only your finances, but your sense of self-worth, your self-reliance right now at the moment. All right, now in terms of your work sector, this is seen by Mars. So, in terms of these harsher aspects, as I was saying, it could be involving your work around Thursday. So if there's anything you can to detach from that, I think is great. Again, it could be the work with your relationships or relationships through work or something like that. It may even have to do with maybe home or family related things that there's maybe uncertainty about. So if that's involved for you, I think just detachment, letting go, surrender. Again, it's the same process, but about, we're just looking at it from the different areas of life here. But through that, yes, I think challenging yourself to have more acceptance and letting go of everything outside of that immediate control. All right, so yeah, there's that, but you do have the sun in your 6th house all the way up until Saturday. So it is this excellent time for your work. I think particularly your routine, your health, your diet, your regimens. That's where you're focused, generally speaking. And we do have that full moon here midweek on Wednesday, suggesting that there could even be a cultivation of something that maybe you did start a couple of weeks ago or a week and a half ago, depending on when you're watching this, that did start with your work or your perspective of your work. And so now doing a status check with this area. And I think the status check, which is great for all areas of your life, is where you can have more peace. I think a big high point of this week is just generally coming to an awareness of where you can have more peace and tranquility and acceptance, and understanding more about yourself in a spiritual level, psychological level, and how that's exactly what your work needs. That's exactly what your daily activities need, is more of that, acceptance and tranquility. And that's what this axis is all about anyways. In this case, probably bringing in the 6th into the 12th, and the 12th into the 6th, which is that, this is, again, everything that we do have control over, which is your environment, your routine, how you respond to things. That's the 6th house. But then there's all this vastness. There's everything we don't, and we can surrender, let go. And then that can bring in more peace into our work and routine. And even too, with what we do have control over, things like our actions, meditation, prayer, spiritual activities can really help you cultivate this really good awareness right now, at the very least, about your spiritual beingness and how you can, yes, connect to that, connect to your intuition and this more receptive approach to matters. All right, so yeah, that's the work, but also spiritual as well. And the relationship side of things, this is, as I was saying, very emphasized for you. You do have Mars there, direct. There's also a lot of self-expression going on at the moment. Maybe there's some things, if it is relationship, maybe a lot of you are rethinking, re-examining romance. And this is, if not romance in a partnership, maybe just having a bit of lighter, playful energy in your life. This could be very freeing, the freedom of expressing yourself. In fact, coming into this week, Mercury will go over Uranus on Tuesday, suggesting that I think you've learned a lot about freedom of expression, freedom of fun, enjoyment. Some of you maybe even starting some new hobbies or interests, things like that, that are connecting to things that are really close to your heart, and even people that are close to your heart, hence like the romance and stuff like that. But yes, it's all about self-expression. I think it's an excellent week for continuing to do that, to express yourself in freer ways. And with Mars in that 7th, maybe there is some uncertainty about the relationships about Thursday. But then, as I said, on Friday, there is that inspiration there, and maybe even opportunity, hopefulness there, that really continues to move this area forward, because it is a motivating area. It is an emphasized area. And that's certainly the case this week. All right, so Scorpion Ophiuchus, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please like, comment, and share down below. If you'd like a personal reading, there's a link as well for that. But wishing you all the very best, and I will see you all next time. Take care. All right, Sagittarius, welcome to your weekly forecast. So let's have a look here. We've got your ruler Jupiter as a backdrop, still up in the 10th house. Very good for re-examining or expanding your career, your productive life, your achievements in life, anything in that future perspective. Now, Jupiter is in good aspect, trining up to Mars, in fact, here around Friday. So the second half, you could be feeling quite motivated, quite driven, quite direct, maybe with your work, which we'll look at here in just a few minutes. Now, the other area that's emphasized is your 4th house of home, family, or health. I think a lot of you have learned a lot about this area, maybe shifted some things with this area, so it can be more freeing for you. Right? It's ultimately what this is about. Uranus has been helping you find more freedom with your home, your location, your health, whatever it might be. And on Tuesday, with Mercury over Uranus, it's kind of final culmination of this. A final culmination of implementing this freedom so that this area is more malleable, more shifty, more changing. So it's more in alignment with your true self. Now, the full moon is in your 11th house. So the high point this week is about the status check about your aspirations, and some of you even to your network circles or your community, your friends even. So around Wednesday, great to do a status check about those things on a personal level. What are your hopes? What are your wishes, your aspirations? Has there been some things here that over the past 6 months you've been cultivating? And now you're noticing some things are working and some things are not. And you can shift. There's this shift of this transition, letting go of what's not working, cultivating what is about those future aspirations, and as well as those network circles. All right, now in terms of the financial side of things, this is seen by Saturn for you, who's been in the 12th. So as a backdrop, yes, there might be has been some these past couple of years, maybe uncertainty, or some of you more about the receptive approach to finances, but it's the sort of area for you to find that spiritual liberation, that peace, that tranquility through. But anyway, Saturn is in good aspect this week. In fact, part of this grand trine, generally, as you can see here. But Saturn is going to be trining Mercury, and that'll be around Thursday. So yeah, it's not a major thing, but I think some flow here, maybe some communication, maybe some of the stuff involving the home, family, or health, supporting it in some way, and helping you feel like you've got that sense of self-worth and self-reliance. Now, in terms of the work sector, you do have Mars in the 6th. A lot of you have been very driven and direct. I think lately, these past, what's it been, over a month now, of Mars in the 6th of, driven towards your work, developing your craft for some of you, getting your time management, energy management, really getting that motivation drive into whatever you do on a daily level. So this is all very supportive because of that trine with your ruler, helping the career and productive stuff we were talking about. But Mars is going to be squaring up to Neptune here around Thursday. So if there is any uncertainty or doubt about this area or something like that, again, as I was saying, in the general, detachment is key, and being as present as you can with the whole thing. And then as a result, what you'll find is that there's probably this much larger thing unfolding about your work or your daily activities that can really help you have more peace. This is what's developing, is this peace, this tranquility in that area. All right, but again, because your ruler's trining that Mars, I think for you, and probably Pisces as well, not as impactful as I think it is for most other signs. And besides, we have a lot of supportive aspects here this week. And then, yeah, maybe on Friday, feeling that inspiration, that openness to expand there with the work, maybe even some opportunities there, in fact, the work and career stuff. All right, now Mercury does rule your 10th house of career, and that's, I think, what's been shifting too. I think a lot of you have been finding lately that there's more freedom you can have with your career, your work in some way, and how that can maybe link up with your home life, your family life, and have balance there. Some of you working from home, or some of you getting more emotionally connected with your work. But whatever it is freeing you up, and this week is another week of maybe thinking outside the box, seeing new and progressive ways of how you can have more freedom with your career and long-term goals and productive stuff. All right, now in terms of relationships, that's also seen by Mercury, who rules your 7th, and Mercury is going over Uranus, so it is about freedom in relationships as well, and maybe even relationships with your family, home, you know, or those you consider your family, you know, your soul family, you could say. Those you're emotionally connected to, those you care about, those you protect. And implementing that quality in your relationships is emphasized. And yeah, and freedom, right? Being who you are in your relationships, allowing your relationships to be who they are as well. All right, so Sagittarius, I hope you all have a fantastic week. Thank you again for all of your likes, comments, and shares. And if you'd like a personal reading, there's a link down in the comment section. But I hope you found this helpful, and I will see you all next week. Take care. All right, Capricorns, welcome to your weekly forecast. So, yep, Saturn is retrograde, as he is for about half the year, 5 months. But you guys are, you know, in this time of the year where it's good to reflect a bit, just have a more receptive approach to things, and maybe continue to re-examine what are your future aspirations, what are your hopes for the future, which has been Saturn in your 11th. But Saturn is in good aspect, trining up to Mercury. In fact, part of this grand trine, even with Uranus, as I was saying, going into next week. So, yeah, there's a lot of support here. I think this week, probably around Thursday, maybe communications are flowing. You're learning, you're open-minded. Had a lot of shifts here with your third house. Mercury over Uranus in your third. Been learning a lot about maybe communication, maybe some practical knowledge, practical things. Some of you connecting with your peers, your siblings, maybe some of you trying some new things involving trade or business. Any of this everyday practical stuff. And so the trine up to Mercury can give you some good communication, good mental aptitude this week. And going into next with Uranus, a bit of freedom. It's been a very important aspect. It's been going on since late December of last year. And it's going to go exact again here next week. So particularly next week, but the second half, yeah, maybe just feeling a bit free. Feeling like you can build these aspirations and stuff, but also have freedom in your life and have it structured in such a way that it is a greater expression of your true self. All right, now in terms of the financial side of things, you do have Neptune in your second. So in a very large sense, we're talking years, you know, with Neptune here. There has been maybe uncertainty with finances or the material stuff, and Neptune is going to be squaring up to Mars here this week around Thursday. So there may be some uncertainty about this area. There may be a bit of clash. You may be wanting, you know, something that's, you know, maybe just not happening, or it's taking a much larger perspective. You kind of have the hands-off approach. So what's already been the case is important to detach here, let go, understand that everything is coming in divine timing. And the more you can do that this week, I think that you can find that to be a very supportive force with this. But I do want to mention that Saturn, the ruler of your second, is the one making this grand trine and is in good aspect. So while, you know, whatever this is going on with the square, that perspective of your finances and material life, there is this strong, supportive, grounded energy really supporting you throughout the week and really for the long term, as again Saturn trines up to that Uranus. Could be about freedom, in fact, probably more so next week, but freedom. when it comes to the material life. So it's not binding you, not holding you down. And, you know, with the South Node here, there's maybe been some past patterns you're releasing about this area that you can continue to do this week as well. All right, now in terms of the work sector, this is Mercury ruling your 6th of work, but you do have a full moon in your 10th house. So yes, excellent week around Wednesday to do this status check about your career or whatever you consider to be your productive life, whether it's for profit or not. Doing the status check is going to help you see that some things are working, some things are not. And it's about continuing to cultivate what is working for you here in your career area. Also, if there has been anything over the past 6 months that was anew that you started, this could certainly be a high point and a great learning point for that area. And having balance, you know, the sun's in your 4th house of home and of health and with family and stuff. So this is great to see that, yes, your career is, you know, at this harvest time, and there's this focus, there's attention on it, but so is there on your home and your health. And so they're really just two sides of the same coin. We can't have good career without good health and home life, and vice versa. Can't have good home or health life without good productive energy. So finding that balance this week, but in either case, great to do a status check of both, in fact, I would say. In fact, if there was anything new you started involving your location a couple of weeks ago, this could also be a good time to do a status check about that, or your home or your health. All right, and yeah, the Mercury I do want to mention on an everyday sense, maybe Tuesday you're mixing up the routine, trying something new and different. I think a lot of you have been mixing up that routine lately, and that can be another exciting thing of sort of integrating that coming into the week. All right, now in terms of the relationship side of things, this is always seen by the moon for you. It's a cyclical pattern. You're at a full moon, so it could be a very energetic time for you in terms of relationships, just monthly speaking. But Mars is in your 5th house. A lot of you are expressing yourselves very directly at the moment, very motivated here about passions and expressing yourself, and some of you too about romance, whether it's bringing that into your existing relationship, or some of you that are single, maybe a bit lighthearted and playful, you know, energy there. Very motivating, very supportive this week. But if there is anything that you feel uncertain about around Thursday, about that self-expression, about your passions, about fun and all this, know that, again, it is requiring, as it is for all of us collectively, generally, you know, this detached perspective, acceptance, and things like meditation and yoga and prayer and things like that can certainly help, you know, help us detach there. But then right after that on Friday, Mars does trine up to Jupiter. Jupiter's been in your 9th house of open-mindedness, of expanding your horizons mentally or quite literally. And I think you just get right back into it. You're feeling a bit inspired there and like expressing yourself again, as you have been. All right, so Capricorn, I hope you have a fantastic week. I do hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please like, comment, and share below. If you'd like a personal reading, there's a link down below for that. But I wish you all the very best, and I will see you all next time. Take care. All right, Aquarius, welcome to your weekly forecast. So your ruler Saturn is retrograde. So maybe lately this past month, I think it's been taking a bit of a step back, as you do for about 5 months out of the year, to kind of reflect on things. And I think what you're reflecting on is likely your career, your productive life and all that, maybe getting a bit of a lift from that area, which is good. But your ruler Saturn is a good aspect this week, trining up to Mercury exact on Thursday. And so you could be feeling quite communicative, or your mind's flowing. You could be feeling quite grounded and practical with learning, communication. It could even be supporting the financial life, which we'll look at. But on a larger sense, Saturn will be trining Uranus next week exact. And, this whole year is about, bringing in both the structures of your life, but also freedom in your life. And this is involving the earth houses. So whatever it is you've been working hard at here, or having to be patient with, involving your career, as we go into next week, there is this freedom about your sense of self-worth, about finances and stuff. In fact, let's go and look at that. So Mercury is going over Uranus here on Tuesday, which he's been very close to. So, lately, it's been about a month and a half since he's gone over and retrograde and back over again. But lately, he's been very close these past few weeks. So if you have been feeling like it's an excellent time for making some changes with your financial life, or a lot of you are just feeling like you're finding some natural gifts, some natural abilities right now, it can be exciting, different, new. It's certainly shifting you into a new direction, and it's certainly supporting whatever this productive stuff is. So excellent here for, seeing how, like, let's say finances can actually free you up. Because sometimes finances can be a burden, and it can actually weigh on us. And maybe there's something lifting with that, and it's freeing you up. And and even too, maybe seeing some new opportunities. In fact, maybe derive some income, which again could be directly supporting this productive area. All right, so that's that. But also, too, Jupiter is your second house ruler, trining up to Mars this week. Jupiter in your 8th house, it has been great for interdependency, maybe relying on others a bit financially, or just in general, with Jupiter. It's all about trust and vulnerability here. But yeah, financially, trining up to Mars, maybe you're motivated here. Maybe there's some new motivation in terms of an opportunity, a door opening, or something like that. Maybe it does involve your home or family or your health in some way. But it's all supporting you to take whatever actions you feel like you do want to take to cultivate greater material security through that interdependency, because we're all very interdependent in this life. All right, so now looking at this in terms of the work sector, Mars is down at the bottom. So some of you are maybe finding you're working from home or spending a bit more time at home, or your work is more emotionally connected, or you're making more emotional connections through your work. But it is a sort of low right now, right? So it's good to be, spending time at home with family, your health, all of this stuff is a great motivating force. And I think you'll find that to be supporting your much larger picture stuff, which is still a major theme for you in the larger picture. Now, Mars is going to be squaring up to Neptune. So if you do feel like there is something about the career stuff here around Thursday that is uncertain, or you're feeling doubts about, or non-clarity about it, it is good to detach. I was saying in the general reading, as more detached as you are, it can really help this area flow for you. But Mars is trining up to that Jupiter. So again, it's, there's a lot of support with this. I think the square up to Neptune is normally a strong aspect, but with all this other supportive stuff we've got this week, and even with Mars particularly, I think there's, at least in this sense, there is inspiration coming from this. So there's hope, there's openness, there's even opportunity for some of you involving your work in a sense, and could be the financial opportunity or something like that. But use that inspiration, use that hopefulness, that optimism, that open-mindedness that's propelling you forward here with the career. And again, it could have to do with more of the receptive approach to it around home, family, or health matters. All right, now in terms of relationships, this is seen by the North Node, who's been in your 7th still as a backdrop. An excellent year for learning about relationships. In general, trying new things with them. And Mercury is going to be trining up to the North Node on Sunday, emphasizing this at the end of the week. So maybe more insights about it, more learning. It's not a major thing, but as a minor aspect, I think all of this sense of self-worth that's changing with you and you're finding freedom with, I think it's very much supporting your relationships at the moment. And I do want to say on a minor note, coming into this week on Tuesday, the Sun, your 7th house ruler, is going to be trining Pluto. And so you could be feeling quite deep in your relationships, open, vulnerable, expressing yourself in deep ways. In fact, you know, this whole cycle is about communication, right? The sun is in your third house. And I think the more you're focused on communication, relationships, but just in general, and I think just learning in general, I think you're finding that's a very supportive, you know, facet of all of your one-to-one connections. And, you know, this full moon is going to be in your 9th house. So here around Wednesday as a backdrop to this whole week, it's just great to be, you know, doing the status check about, you know, do you have this open perspective? Do you have adventure in your life? Not literally, but do you feel like you're open to adventure? You're open to expanding your horizons, trying new things. And if there has been anything over the past 6 months that you've started here in this area, whether it's, you know, opening your minds through philosophy, higher learning, some of you maybe even through travel or hikes or walks or things like this, this is certainly an excellent week to do the status check. You'll see how this area is culminated on some level, that you do have this free spirit, but then, you know, continuing to cultivate it moving forward for the next 6 months. All right, so Aquarius, I hope you all have a fantastic week, and I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please like, comment, and share it down below. If you'd like a personal reading looking at your personal chart, there's also a link for that down in the comment section. But I wish you all the very best, and I will see you all next week. All right, Pisces, welcome to your weekly forecast. So this week, yes, a lot going on. And a lot of this is in your first house, right? You got Venus and Mercury still here. So first of all, coming into it on Tuesday, you could be feeling quite free, as maybe you have been feeling more of like you can be who you are, try new things, bring a bit of excitement in your life. That's been Uranus in your first house for the past like 7 or 8 years. But now Mercury's been triggering this lately, the past month and a half, but more so these past couple of weeks. So on Tuesday, some sort of culmination here about freedom. Might have to do with relationships, which we'll look at a bit here in just a few minutes. But just generally, yeah, how can you mix things up, be more of who you truly are there? And the other thing, you know, Jupiter as a backdrop is, yes, very much involved with relationships at the moment. Your ruler in the 7th, and trining up to Mars here around Friday. Maybe you're feeling quite direct, quite independent, generally, maybe in those relationships, but just generally, you could be feeling quite motivated going into the weekend. Could have to do with communication. It could have to do with wanting to learn some things. You've been very motivated here. As a backdrop to learn, read, write, express yourself in direct ways. And but anyways, you know, this more clear sense of self, which has really been changing lately, is very much supporting you this week. All right, so looking at this in terms of the finances, that Mars does rule your 2nd house of finance, and he is in the 3rd. So again, a lot of you are learning about this area or cultivating your finances in such a way that it is about practical things, practical ways, writing things down, budgeting, that kind of a thing. But Mars is going to be squaring up to Neptune around Thursday. So if there is any uncertainty about the financial stuff, again, the more we can detach and let go will help free us up, helping you be more accepting about this area. But there's a lot of supportive energy about you know, this chart and the whole chart, but about your finances, because Mars is also going to be trining up to that Jupiter. So speaking about how around Friday you're going to have that directness, maybe motivation, drive there, you'll likely have some sort of open-mindedness about your finances, and maybe an opportunity for some of you, maybe it's coming through a relationship or a partnership or something like that, or a relationship helps you feel a bit more inspired or gives you an idea or something, and it very much supports the financial side of things. And let's not forget too, you do have the sun in your second house, so a lot of you have already been focused on, if not finances, just generally, the things you value in life. And now you got a full moon on Wednesday in your 8th house that could be cultivating this, since the past couple weeks or week and a half, depending on when you're watching this. If there has been anything you started, you felt like you got that sense of self-worth, self-reliance, and there's some values you want to cultivate. Yes, great week to do a status check about that and continue to implement this area. And, the area, the actual full moon's in your 8th, and this is about what truly matters most in life. And around Wednesday, I think fundamentally doing a status check about what matters most, materially and non-materially, mostly non-materially. And, the importance of even relying on others a bit, if it is financial, but generally relying on others in the sense of building trust, vulnerability, openness in your relationships, and most fundamentally with yourself, openness and vulnerability with yourself, with life. And that's what's helping you really connect to what matters most. In fact, that full moon is going to be in very good aspect this week. All right, now in terms of the work sector, this is Jupiter, your 10th house ruler, in the 7th. Some of you are involved with relationships through your work or partnerships, something like that. But yeah, this week, Jupiter trines Mars, motivated going into the weekend, maybe about your career, your productive life. And there's a lot to learn about your routine too. You got the North Node in your 6th all year. Great for learning about your work, time management, energy management, developing your craft. In fact, around Sunday, going into next week, Mercury trines that North Node, and you could be learning a lot about, about your craft and the importance of having good routine and cultivating your everyday experiences there. All right, now in terms of the relationship stuff, as I was saying, Mercury rules that 7th. So there's all this opportunity here. Relationships are certainly being emphasized. They may be on a bit more of a back burner, possibly with Jupiter retrograde, but to some level, I think it's getting activated again this week. There's the motivation with relationships I was talking about, quite direct there, but Mercury coming into this week at the beginning, it's all about change here. It's all about freedom in your relationships, whether it's one in particular or just how you relate to others in general. And it's almost like as you're becoming more of yourself, expressing yourself, it's shifting and changing your relationships, and vice versa. Works both ways also. But if you're open to change, open to freedom, Tuesday and going into the rest of the week, another excellent time of implementing your true self through relationships and allowing others to be their true self and just having more freedom there in general. All right, so Pisces, I hope you all have a fantastic week. Thank you again for all of your likes, comments, and shares. Hope you found this video helpful. And if you'd like a personal reading, there's a link down below for that. And wishing you all the very best. Take care.